Hey guys, ILene Vick here for Adult Coloring with ILene Vick. I actually got that right this time. And tonight's segment is going to be the last one on my mermaids. And as you can see what I'm aimed on, I'm going to be doing her hair. Let me tilt up a little bit. So you can see I'm going to show you some technique with that on how to do the hair. And I've done a couple of variations of this, and I decided that I'm going to show you one with the how to do the highlights on that. So there's that one. That's the one we're going to be aiming for tonight. But before I do that, I want to tell you about a really special project that's coming up. And let me pull you out. I want you to take a look at this page. I think you're going to recognize it. You should know what this is from, right? Right? Johanna Basford, Lost Ocean. Okay, so this is a really special project that I'm going to walk you through and show you how to do. This is the before. Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the after. How cool is that? Take a look at that. Isn't that neat? I hope you like it. It's a really cool project. I'm going to show you how to do this. And I think you're going to like it. It's something special because you know that my videos are aimed towards doing the unusual with the books. Now, I know on this series that I'm doing with the mermaid and the hair and the tail and stuff like that, I mean, I started out showing you the special stuff about the fin and adding the candles and the floorboards, but because you guys asked me how to do the tail, fin, and the hair, I went ahead and showed you how I did that, even though there are other wonderful, wonderful tutorials about coloring scales and hair and so forth. But hey, you asked me, I responded and did it for you. I really want you to realize that as I do these videos, I am highly responsive to what you guys are looking for the beginners and the intermediate. All right, so I'm going to show you one more time on this. This is the after. This is the before. Is that not cool? I hope I'm whetting your appetite. Now, there's a lady by the name of M.S.A.Ed, and I'm not going to give you the spelling of her name. She's a really wonderful, wonderful artist that I met. She and I became buds over coloring, adult coloring, and as you know by now, I have told you that if I like a coloring book, an artist's or an author's coloring book, I will color it and show you how to do it and how to add really cool stuff to it. So I stumbled across Lisa's work, and what had happened was she had taken this picture, this is the before, and she changed it over to something like this. But what's unique about her work is not so much this per se, it's what she added over here. Now, I could never do the work that she does. I'm not an illustrator. I'm not an illustrator. I'm not. My thing is adult coloring and, you know, adding really neat things to this and doing this work. And I can show you how to do this work. But Lisa's work is absolutely phenomenal, and I'm going to show you some other pieces in this next video series when I start it up. So I really, really hope that you follow me, and I really would like you to tell your friends, because she is very much deserving of the credit of this. And I'm not really doing this for her per se. I'm doing it for you because you're going to have access to some terrific illustrative work. Now, obviously, that'll benefit her, but you're my audience, and I'm always scoping out neat stuff and looking for cool things to do. So that's M.S.A.Ed, and when I start up my next video series, this is the Lost Ocean, and I'm literally going to show you how to cut apart. This is cut, See, because the pattern doesn't go all the way over, right? I'm going to show you how to cut apart your lost ocean and create something totally unique. Now, having said that, I know you beginners are probably going, oh no, I can't do that, I can't do that. Wrong, because if a beginner can't do what I'm showing you in my videos, I'm not going to show you. In other words, I will never abandon my beginners. So beginners, guess what? You can do this. And when you follow me step by step, you'll learn the technique. So not only is it going to be great for a page like this, but you'll start looking at your other books and say, oh, cool, what can I, cut and alter and do different and add designs to? And I'll show you how I added this design. I did it with tracing paper. There's a tracing paper technique. I will show you how to do this. And some of you may recognize this. This is one of the mermaids from ILene Vick's book. And let me see if I can grab that real quick. I don't want to tie up too much video time. Here it is. Okay, see? That's a ILene Vick mermaid. Okay? So see, I took part of that and I transferred it to this other book and made a whole new unique creation out of it. And you can do it. Doesn't have to be ILene Vick work. It can be other stuff from other books. As long as, and I'm going to say this, you own the book. Don't steal images to do this. I don't want you stealing. I'm a Christian. It just totally goes against what I believe. And I'm trying to help artists, not hurt them. So if you own the coloring books, then that's cool. Now, here's the interesting thing. As you noticed, I had to buy 2 Lost Ocean books because, of course, I cut mine apart. If you notice, I did not just make a copy of this on my copier, my printer, whatever, and do it that way, which I could have. No, I bought a second book. Cost me, what, $12 or whatever it was on Amazon.com. I'm glad to do it. So, Johanna, I was glad to pay you the extra money to do this project, and if I have to buy a third book, doggone it, I will buy a third book. But do not steal stuff by making copies to do what I'm showing you how to do. Okay, enough of that. So, let's get back to finishing up the hair. And that's Lisa Matrakin. Remember that name. Okay. So, here's what I'm gonna be working on tonight. And I gotta slide away 1 second and turn my fan on. Here we go. Okay. Now, this hair is done. It's very straightforward. Beginners, don't let it throw you. And in fact, I'm going to put a link at the bottom of my video to show you what I was looking at to get the technique. So that link will show you how to do this in addition to me showing you how to do it. So you should be good to go. All right. Pencils. Get your pencils ready. Hopefully yay, it focused. Ivory, Faber-Castell, number 103. It's the first one, okay? Second one, Faber-Castell, and that is the burnt sienna, number, doggone. I always try to look at these through the camera, and then the light's on it. 283, but double check that. Okay, burnt sienna. I use this a lot, by the way. So you'd think I'd know the number. And the last one is my Faber-Castell number 280, and that's my burnt umber. So these are the 3 pencils that we're going to use to get this terrific looking hair. All right, so let me get this out of the way. And you remember last time I did the tail. Let me go large frame. Okay, we did the tail, so you should be done with your scales if you're following along. You should have had the fin done and the wallpaper and, of course, the bathtub and everything on the bottom. Let me show you the reference picture again. Okay? Because you know I love to show you the side-by-side so you can see what we're aiming for. And I'm going to tilt you a little bit, so if camera movement bothers you, turn your head away. Okay, So let me get the piece I'm going to work on. That one's a little scribbly. Okay, we're going to do this one. Now, as you remember, when we had the original hair on her, I added the curls. Let me get to the hair here. And what I'm going to do now, because again I've added my hair streaks, and if you don't remember how I did that, just go back to a video and look it up how I did it. So let me put the side by side here and show you what I'm going to do. Alright, there are two ways you can do this. The first way is you can take your ivory and you can color over, following the lines, the hair. Okay, so you're going to have ivory. Well, heck, let me show you what I'm not going to do the work on. Here, watch. So I'm going to take my ivory and I'm coloring over the hair strands. Okay, and see, you can see on camera how that's starting to come in. Zoom in a little bit. Tilt up. And then you can, I'm just going to do the top portion here, and I'm doing this like super quick because I'm just showing you as an idea and not really how I'm going to do it tonight. So I've colored just the top portion here to show you this. And then you're going to take my medium brown or your medium brown, and you start coloring over the hair, okay? And what you do is you leave a gap where the highlight of the hair would be. Now, if that confuses you, look at pictures of hair, but pretend that there's a light shining on her head, and you're going to see a white shine right here. It's basically where the hair is kind of poofed up and sticks up, okay? So angled here, I'm going to draw in a gap, right? And you've got to do it on all your strands, so don't color these full colors. You want to leave little gaps of where, like, see on this curl right here? And I'll show you this in detail. Again, I'm just doing this real quick. See how I left that little white area right there? Okay, so the first method is you lay down your ivory first, like we did the skin earlier. You leave this gap, okay? And then you add your darkest color, which is how you're adding your shades for your depth. Okay? Now, see where that gap is? Now I'm going to close that off a little bit because I left it extra big. You want to leave yourself room to add and not erase. Okay? And I'll color that just a little more with my ivory. Okay? Now, here's the important difference. When you lay down your ivory first, it changes your brown because we're putting brown on top of ivory, right? It's going to make the brown a little bit overall lighter. So that's one way you can do this. So just like the skin, you would completely color all your hair in ivory. All right? So there's the effect. And then in the end, you know, you're going to just color over very lightly with my lighter brown of the two. And then you'll start to see the nice effect that we have, which is this. Let me pull out. Okay? See what I'm doing here? Okay. So that's the white highlight that I had. You can see it. It's the highlights on the hair. Okay? So that's one way you can do it. But the other way that I'm going to do it, which I don't really want to say one is better than the other. It just gives a different technique or a different finish. It's a different technique to give a different finish. So let me pull this back a tad. And I'm going to get rid of this book because really this is the model that we're following tonight. And I'm going to put this side by side here. And actually I'm going to put my finished one on the left because I'm right-handed. Alright, so technique number 1, color the whole thing in your ivory first. Lay a base of ivory color like we did on the skin. Technique number 2, which will leave my browns being more vibrant because I'm not putting them over the base of the ivory, is to start off with the browns. So, looking at my 3 colors that I have, which is the ivory, and I'm just going to call this my light brown and my dark brown. It's actually a medium and a dark, but you know what I mean. It's the lighter brown of the two. So I'm going to take my lighter brown, and I'm going to start gently coloring the hair. Let's see here. And this is where, again, you need to start to think about where your highlights are going to be. Okay? So I'm going to leave this area right going across right here. So as I start my brown, I'm coloring my brown. And I'm going to leave a gap. And you'll start to see it as I'm moving along here. Okay, see the gap? Now, the thing you have to be careful about, and I've been guilty of this, as I'm going down and doing the rest of the hair, I've forgotten to leave a gap. Because, see, we got to leave gaps throughout all of this. So here's my first gap. Now, here's a curl, right? Let me zoom in on this. Okay, I'm going to adjust. Okay. So here's a curl. Well, where's the highlight going to be? Probably about here, right? So I'm going to start my brown here. I'm going to skip and continue around the curl. Start my brown here, skip, continue around my curl. Alright, so there's my next highlight. Then I'm going to look at this curl here. Where would the highlight be? Across here. So I'm going to color the top part of this curl, the bottom part right here, and leave this gap open. Now, on this curl here, my gap's probably going to be about here to here. So I'd say here to there. So now I'm going to color that in. Leaving my gap, coming back around. Okay? See, you can start to see where I'm leaving my gaps. Don't worry about being super neat because it's all going to blend in the end. I mean, be relatively neat. Don't be slobby about it, but you don't have to be like super precise. Precise is the word I want. Okay, so I'm going to color there. All right, here's my next curl, right? So I come around. Leave a gap and come back. And if you ever have any questions about where gaps need to be on hair, go on Google and look at hairstyles in the sun and shade, and you'll see it. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, down here, I'm going to leave a gap there to about there. So I'll color this. And if that helps you in leaving your gap, let's say you're deciding here, just draw a little line like there and there. So see, my gap's going to be here. And then just color up to the line. here's another curl, so I'm going to leave a gap there to there. Now, when we get done, these gaps will actually be smaller, but I've left them a little bit bigger because I want room to blend in and shade. So you're not going to have a huge white thing right there. Okay, so I'm going to have a gap probably there to about there. And I'm probably pressing, I want to say, a 2 maybe, 1 or 2 browns. Brown's a pretty dark color, so you don't have to press very hard. And you know I always say this, what? Let your pencil do the work. Okay. What do you think? See? Move this over a little more. There you go. You can start to see where I'm doing this now. Okay. And on the one on the left, see I left the gap here and I let it run down a little bit, and then I had the highlight and had the highlight there, had the highlight here, had it there, down there, a little bit in here. So see? Okay. All right. So now I'm going to take my darker color, which of course is my umber, the 280. And where you want the dark is at the very top, right? Because the hair is going to be a little bit darker. And you're basically making it darker where the edges are. Now, I am hardly pressing here because I want to see how the color is going to start coming in. Now see where the hair is coming down here and going across this way. So right where that hair intersects, I'm going to have a little bit of dark. Okay, let me come in a little further and see. Make sure you can see that. And tilt up. Okay, so my hair is coming this way, coming down, so right at that intersection, a little bit of shading and dark. Remember when I did the fin the other day, and I darkened it underneath the ridge of the fin to make it look like a shadow? Same principle here. Okay. Now, see where this curl is? I'm going to put a little dark there. Oh, I love it. Let's see here. What haven't I had under my hand all this time? It's so funny. I keep telling you that my paper towel, right? Remember, because it helps move my hand around. Why didn't somebody tell me? All right. So, see underneath the curl, right? Because that's going to add some depth. So right on the edge of the curl, I'm going to hit that with a little brown. Then there's another curl right here, so I'm going to hit that with a little bit of darker brown. See how I'm starting to get that depth on the whole thing? Okay. Anywhere that you have hair going in different directions, you want to hit it with a little depth, with a little dark to make that depth. Kind of like outlining. All right, so here's my curl here. So underneath that curl. And so you want to do underneath opposing hair directions and a little bit on some of the edges of your hair. So see, I'm going to hit the edges just a little bit. Let's see, there's an opposing right there. Because see, I've got the hair going down this way and then across this way. So that area right there, I'm going to add a little bit of brown. Okay. And I'm just going over these areas again a little bit. And experiment. I know that this is a new technique for you, but as you start to get the gist of it, and like I said, make a copy of your page and practice on it, and you'll start to see when it starts to look good, right? All right. Let's see, I've got opposing here, I've got hair coming down here and hair going this way. So I'm going to put just a little bit there. And then I'm just going to go in the middle, just a little bit on a couple of these cascading strands. Not a lot. There. How cool does that look? Okay, zoom in so you can see. Okay, see how I've got the darker around the curls and the change in directions of the hair. All right. Now, take your ivory, okay? I don't know why I'm showing that again to you because I showed it to you earlier. So now you're going to take your ivory and you're going to color over your highlight spot. See that? And you're going to let your ivory go over a little bit on top of the brown there. Okay, so there's my first one. Here's my second highlight. There's this one. Anywhere you left a blank spot, and see it's pulling a little bit of the brown into the white area, you want that. That's exactly what you want to happen. Now, let me hit that curl a minute, because see, I went on the outside. I want to get this part here. I didn't color that in earlier. There we go. And then I left this one, right? Make sure you're still in camera range. There we go. And then I left this one. Now, that little tiny area in here should have been brown, so I'm going to catch that up. Okay. And let's see, I've got a white gap here. I'm going to just make that brown. So color that in. I'm using my medium brown. Okay, now I'm going to do this gap where I left it. And this gap. And I left some areas down here. Okay, it looks blotchy, doesn't it? Let's look at the original again so you can see where we're going with this. Okay. In fact, let me do something. Hold on. I had folded this paper. Let me fold it a little bit closer to her hair so I can get closer with the original. That's really the smart thing to do. There we go. Okay. Now, you're looking at that saying, but ILene, her hair on the right is way darker than her hair on the left. Yes, it is. But because of this last step, you're going to watch it change to a more golden color. So, taking my medium brown, and what I'm doing is very, very lightly now, I'm going back over the areas where I colored with the ivory, and I'm very lightly going over the areas that I went with the darker color. Now, don't go too heavily on your darker color, because remember you were defining a shade there. Okay? And let me zoom in. Yeah. Watch. This is so cool. Look how beautiful that's turning. So here's what's happening. The ivory is being turned a little bit darker, but it's still lighter because it's underneath the brown, right? And the darker here, which we're using with the darkest brown, is turning a little bit lighter because I'm hitting it with the highlight. Now, let's see. Got a little bit out of the area, just erase. But look how this golden now, how golden that brown's becoming because you're coloring on top of the ivory. And it's not showing like there's a lot of white blotch. Now, here's another thing. If that white blotch looks too big from here to here, which it's a little bit big, what I'm doing is I'm going to press a little harder near the bottom to shorten that. Okay. Lighten up here with my pencil and then darker at the top. So see, I've made that white area now shorter and smaller. So I'm just adjusting now the size of that white with my pencil. Now, one thing that you want to do when you're coloring like this is when you make a change, stop coloring for a minute and look, okay? Don't just color, 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 and at the very end look. Color, stop, and look as you're going so you can kind of gauge where you are. See how we're starting to get a really, really nice blend in here? Yeah. So now I've got this curl here. Notice I'm not just scrubbing up and down, right? I'm following the direction of the curl. Okay, follow the direction of the curl. And again, wherever you're going over the ivory with a lighter pencil, you end up with a highlight. Look how sweet that's starting to look. Follow the flow of the hair. And anywhere that you have little white dots, which sometimes you'll get because if you miss it with your brown, just go over with your lighter brown and color in those little white speckles. Isn't that beautiful? And I'm going to close down this white just a little bit more. There we go. That way it's more going this way than going this way. Because I had a white streak going down here, I wanted to get rid of that. See, that's why in the beginning I want that white streak for you being a little bit bigger, because then you can change the size of it as you are adding your brown pencil. Okay. Now, we have a choice here. We can basically leave this as is. And what I'm going to do is get my blender pencil. I'm going to sharpen it. I'm going to scrape it to make sure there's nothing on there. We have one of two choices. I can either leave this color the way it is. Now notice this is a little darker than this. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It looks terrific. So I'm going to gently blend because that'll go further in getting rid of all those like little white speckles. Now I'm kind of avoiding the highlighted area. I mean, you can hit it a little bit, but don't rub on it too much or else you're going to lose it. So now I'm just getting rid of the speckles. Okay, now, that looks great the way it is. It really does. So, I could stop right there. You know, I mean, I see some more speckles, but I'm not, again, going to waste your time just removing them all at this point. Okay, so you can do that, or instead of doing that, you can take your ivory pencil and gently go over the top of your darker colors. Now do that very, very lightly because you don't want it to come out as light as your highlights. Okay. Now when I get on my highlights, I'm going to press a little darker, you know, a little harder because I want them to be brighter. Not too bright though. You don't want to lose too much of your brown, which I did, so I'm going to go back and fix that. Okay. But I'm going over my darker brown here on the hair to lighten the whole effect. So you can do either your blending pencil or this flesh, not flesh, your ivory on top. Or, as I'm doing right now, you can do both. So I did the blending pencil and this. So you can do either or both. Okay? Cool. Okay, blender pencil. Yeah, you like that? Now, if you feel, and don't overblend because that can easily happen. If you think that you've overblended, you can, I'm going to take my dark pencil, okay, darkest, and I'm just going to hit those little shadow areas again just briefly. I mean, just 2 seconds here. Zoop, zoop, zoop real quick. Okay. At the very top. The main thing is you don't want your hair to look streaky. You want it to look smooth and natural and blended, sexy almost. Okay. Oh, I love that. Now, be really careful because I don't know why this happens with hair, but you can get going on it and change this and change that and just say, oh, I just want to do one more blend. Oh, I want to do one more color lightening. Oh, I want to do one more color, you know, one more whatever. If you do too much, you're going to have a muddy mess because you're going to lose your definition of your hair underneath. Okay? But I've done enough with that. Let me pull out. Is that not sweet? Now, obviously, the one I did previous is a little lighter. This one's a little darker. And that's okay. If I wanted to make it lighter, I could highlight it more with that light pencil. So see? That is a really neat way to do hair. Now, let me go back and show you my original. And it doesn't have as much of the highlights as I like. I mean, it looks fine. But I think that these look a lot better, don't they? Yeah. I mean, I like them both, that and that. So, there's a difference on the three. All right, let me pull these sheets out here. So, here is the finished picture. And when you're done, this is what you're going to have. I've shown you how to do everything, the floorboard, the candles, adding the flowers on the bathtub, making the fin translucent, and last but not least, your hair. So, I hope you've enjoyed this series of videos. Please tell your friends. Please like them. And again, I ask you, please subscribe if you like what I'm doing. You can get in touch with me if you have any questions or comments. And again, don't forget that I'm going to be introducing you to Lisa Matrakin, how to basically cut apart your Lost Ocean book. And you'll go from this to this. And yes, beginners, you can do this. Trust me, I'll walk you through it. One more quick thing I wanted to show you, because you know, before I sign off, because you know that I like to add my own stuff to drawings and make them unique and the whole bit, because that's my thing. There are plenty of people on YouTube that'll show you how to color stuff. That's why I kind of got off message with this mermaid and the tail and the hair, because there's tons of people that do it, but that's okay. This is Lost Ocean again, and here's a really neat idea. I got to pull out so you can see this. Use my pencils. Look at this. Let's see if we can get you just, there you go. Hopefully you can see that, okay? Sorry for the shadow here. Get rid of that. That's my pencil jars. There you go. And if you look very carefully, I have put a huge, huge moon across these two pages, right? And then, of course, you know I'm going to add stuff on the bottom. So I'm going to walk you through this as a tutorial, again, Lost Ocean, because I'm all about adding unique stuff. All right, guys, this is ILene Vick for Adult Coloring with ILene Vick. Please subscribe. I hope you enjoy this. God bless you. I hope you have a fantastic, well, it's Thursday, rest of the weekend. And please don't forget to post my video links on your personal Facebook pages. God bless. Bye.